questions to ask throughout a campaign with the confidence rising. I told WDF don't switch, good times are coming on even deep diving. Fan cams, reactions, watch along, still the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South, they flying. Keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.
Yes, guys, welcome back to Eagle Eye Football, and this is the Wednesday show, the TACT-EAGLE show, and this is our game against Fulham, and definitely not the one that I thought was against Man United. Oh well, it is what it is, but as always, I'm joined here by my co-host Dan. How's it going?
Yeah, all good. I've been going to the gym a lot recently, so if you've noticed I've gotten a bit skinnier or a bit more dense, then that's why.
Don't worry, Dan. We have not noticed.
How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, man. All good, all good. Just working, man. Just doing what needs to be done. And I hate computers. I'll say that.
Well, you've picked a great job, JC.
I didn't pick it. It picked me.
You're bound to it.
Yeah. It was my destiny, let's say.
Your destiny.
But before we talk about Crystal Palace, we have to have a big shout out to Wilfried Zaha playing his first Champions League game today and getting an assist.
Yeah, that was very nice, especially since he's been injured as well.
Yeah,
it's nice for him to come back, and I watched the assist as well. I thought it was a good assist. Good finish from Tete as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does help that Copenhagen got a red card, but draw's a draw, isn't it? Assist, it's Champions League. Who cares?
Yeah, no, exactly. And go through a Champions League, that even if you come third, you're still going to Europa League. So
yeah, exactly. So big up to him, and let's hope that maybe Galatasaray could cook up something special in the Champions League this year.
Yeah, no, for sure. They've got on paper they've got a good team. Like having like Cardi up front, Dries Mertens, Hakim Ziyech, and
I have to say, Sasha Bowie was something special today, wasn't he?
Mate, honestly, I didn't watch the game today, but I did a video on him on my old YouTube channel, like about him. And put it this way, there was a reason that I was raving on and on and on about getting him last January. Like he's really good.
And I didn't watch it, but Chairman said that he was outstanding.
Yeah, honestly, like he's just so strong, so powerful, and he's brilliant in attack, but he's also solid defensively as well. Which, I mean, what more do you want in a player or a fullback?
100%. But let's talk about our game against Fulham, and let's go into our predicted 11s. Let's say. All right, Dan, do you want to put it up?
Yeah. So, I'll explain it a little bit. So I've just kind of put originally R11 just as including players who might be available. So, for example, I know Mark Gay, Jefferson Lerma, Jordan Ayew. I know they could be available. I think Jefferson Lerma's definitely out, so we can take him out and put Will Hughes there. Mark Gay's a maybe, and I think Jordan Ayew's also a maybe. But if they're not, then I'd like to see this. I got Rob Holding there, but honestly, after Chris Richards' performance against Villa, I would happily have him there again. And Jordan Ayew, but Jordan Ayew is the key one here because apparently he only sustained a dead leg. But the thing is, where do you go if he's injured? Where do you go? Because I was toying with it a little bit because. I mean, the only logical thing that you can really do, I think, is just put Jez straight in because I don't see how anyone else can really fit. If he's still injured, I don't see how. Oh, I've got several Jordan Ayes.
I'll tell you what Roy will do. What he'll do is he'll put Schlapp on the right.
Oh, yeah.
He'll put Schlapp on the right. He'll put Eze on the left and put Hamada down the middle. That's what he'll do.
To be honest, I knew I was forgetting someone. That's why I had this extra one here, Hamada. To be honest with you, I actually wouldn't be that. I wouldn't feel too bad about that because I think Ahamada is quite good in that sort of attacking midfield, and obviously we know Eze likes to come inside, so I think that'd be fine. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Like I don't know. I did even think about what if we played maybe like a 4-3-3 with like Shep Decore, Schlupp on the left, and then Ahamada on the right, which is where he played at Stuttgart on the right hand side of a midfield three, and then I don't know, maybe putting Jez there, or maybe putting Schlupp there, and then putting Will Hughes on the pitch. That was kind of another idea that I maybe had as well. Which actually, that was using the same players as a minute ago. So maybe, I don't know. But honestly, it's the Jordan Ayew one that I think is a proper killer. But I think maybe if we just leave it as that one that we just had, like that, let's just say, that's potentially how we'll line up. And then on the Fulham side, I noticed that this season they've been playing a 4-3-3. To be honest with you, it's not that dissimilar to how we used to play under Vieira initially, anyway, where you've got these kind of two slightly wider central mids, but they'll help out like on the wings, and then you've got these wingers who like to try and stay wide, and yeah, that's basically how it works. Without spoiling too much yet, that's pretty much how I think they'll set up. They can bring on other players. Like they've got Carlos Vinicius on the bench, who's a good player. They've got I can't pronounce his name, Cordova Reed, who can also play on the
Bobby
right.
Reed.
Sorry, Bobby Reed, who can also play on the right hand side as well. I know they've got a midfielder, another like defensive mid that they have played with like a double pivot with this other. I think it's Lukic is his name sometimes, but I think they'll line up like this to begin with, taking into account their injuries. Because I think Anthony Robinson's injured.
Adarabayo's injured, Robinson's injured, and Lukic is also injured.
All right, cool. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if Robinson was around, I would probably think that he would actually drop Castagna for him. But this is what they played against Luton anyway.
Well, yeah, Castagna's a weird one because he's obviously one of those players that we say it all the time. He's one of those players that I think Palace should have went for because he can play left and right back.
Yeah, I think Castagna is a good player. We'll see a bit later, but I think he's definitely a classic. Very good. I think he's decent in attack, but defensively, I think he can be a bit sus.
Yeah. However, in my opinion, Tete is probably one of the better right backs in the league. If you look at him statistically, and only statistically, he's high up there. He's got many. I think he's very high with interceptions, I believe, and tackles completed. I'm sure it's like over 2 per 90. So yeah, it's pretty good.
I think I think Tete is actually quite a good right back. I'd be more worried about the right hand side than the left hand side, in my opinion.
Definitely. Do you want to talk about attack or defense first, mate?
What did I do? I can never remember.
I think I'd done defense last week.
All right, so how we will attack them, or how Fulham attack?
How we will attack.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so I can do Fulham's defense / how they will attack. First thing.
Sorry, mate.
That's right. First thing I want to do before I get into it, I just want to show people just some stats about Fulham, because I thought personally Fulham were quite fortunate to finish where they finished last season. I thought statistically they weren't as good as it made out. And to be honest with you, based on admittedly the limited time I did watch them, I didn't think that they were that good either. And this season, I don't think they're necessarily in trouble getting relegated, but let's just say that a £5 bet did tempt me earlier. That's all I'm going to say. And I'll show you. Odds. Yeah, and I'll show you why. So, as it stands, right, in Europe's big 5 leagues. So I'm going to sort this by goal difference per 90. Okay. Basically, what expected goal is. So what it basically means is the difference between the expected goals, so the amount of chances that they create in a game, or the quality of the chance, versus the basically the same but what they concede, right? And this minus that is the goal difference. So if you do it per 90, let's see if we can spot Fulham. And this is the top 5 leagues in Europe. Okay. We're getting lower. We're getting lower. We're getting lower. We're getting
Oh, is
lower.
that Palace up there? I can see if you go up a bit.
Yeah, we're there.
50th.
Which is it's all right. Like, it's middle of the pack, to be honest. And I will caveat, Fulham are bottom. Fulham are bottom. Lower than Sheffield United. Now, I am going to caveat it because it is a small sample size, and they have already played City and they have already played Arsenal. And also they just kind of fell apart against Brentford as well. So over the season, is that going to stay like that? Probably not. But with that in mind, I want to show you the next thing. Sorry. I want to show you what that means in terms of this. So here we are. So Fulham are at the bottom, right? And I think it is a good stat to use because in the bottom 4, you've got 2 teams in the relegation zone, and then Sheffield United, who are one above it. Okay. And then last season was a bit of a weird one. But if you did that, okay, in the bottom 3, we've got Southampton, we've got Forest, we've got Bournemouth. So they're all teams that either were relegated or not that far off relegation. Maybe not Bournemouth, but yeah. And then the season before, bottom 2, okay, they both got relegated. Third bottom was Leeds, who very nearly got relegated. And again, season before that, bottom 2, relegated. Third bottom, Crystal Palace.
Just about.
And then Burnley almost relegated, 4th from bottom. So what I'm trying to say is that this statistic is something that normally is quite a good indicator of how well a team will do. Again, bottom 3, Villa, who stayed up by their teeth and debatably should have gone down if they didn't have a Hawkeye problem.
Yeah, goal line technology weren't working that day.
Yeah, exactly. And then Norwich also relegated. So what I'm trying to say is that this stat is something that is important to note. But anyways, going back to this. Whoops, wrong button.
Big up yourself, Rich, and big up Sherman for joining us.
Thank you very much, guys. So, one thing I noticed about Fulham was that defensively, I don't really know how to describe it. You know what, right? This might be really harsh, but I think Marco Silva is the Portuguese Alan Pardew. Because I don't like the thing is, right, their system isn't that bad. Like, for example, like you've got the 4 at the back, okay, fine, that's good. And then you've got the 3 kind of covering, which is good, and then depending on where the ball is, they'll like shift to the side. And the Jimenez is expected to do no defending, to be fair, but the wingers do come back and are expected to defend. So sometimes, like over here, you can have like 3 players defending, and
they still have players left over to do the rest of it.
Yeah, which on the face of it is very good, but I just feel like they don't. It's hard to explain. Like I feel like they just don't practice it enough in a weird way. And what I mean by that is like what they do just sometimes is very sus. So like, for example, these were some whoops. Oh, hang on a minute. Sorry. So these are just some examples of when they are in that. I wouldn't say it's a low block per se, but when they are kind of defending a little bit deeper, their wings seem really exposed for some reason. So there's a couple there. Sorry, that was a bit awkward, but yeah. So if I go to here, So I go on here. Right. So for example, their defending on the wings is just really weird. So let's go for this one. So this was a play. Admittedly, it's against Arsenal. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Arsenal are a good team, but I feel like they don't. Firstly, they don't defend their back post. So here you've got the ball in. I mean, you're not. I wouldn't say it's in a non-danger zone. Like, it is. Like, it's in a relatively danger zone with Declan Rice on the ball. All he does, right, is ping a long pass over like that. Okay, and this is what I mean about they don't really seem to like learn their defending, if that makes sense. Because this ball has come over from Declan Rice. He was about over here somewhere. This ball's come over. The ball's here now, and he's going to fall to Gabriel Martinelli. Look how close their defender is. That's Kenny Tete. So obviously, as you can imagine, so let me go with that. So as you can imagine, that gives Martinelli a lot of time, and not only that, but this player here, who I can't remember who it was, just makes a run and like just has loads of space in between here. So I mean, it doesn't take a genius to work out that if you've pinged that pass straight over, right, and you're in this position, there's two things that you could do that could happen here. Either Martinelli just goes himself and this player just maybe drops a little bit or runs into the space over there or whatever, or Martinelli just makes that very simple pass and this player has got all this space to then just cross into. And okay, fine, you might be saying, well, okay, fine, well, by the time that they're going to get over there, well, I mean, again, we all know, we've all watched football enough to know that when you get in this position and you fire a ball across there, if you've got players running in to that box, you know, it's only got to take a minor deflection or maybe a defender to slightly miss it or just a good cross to then have a tap in, basically. So that's the first thing I noticed. Just from one long ping ball over here. So we're probably thinking, okay, maybe in this position, we know how Joachim Andersen likes to get forward. We know he can ping a pass. Fulham know he can ping a pass. What's to say that he can't be in that position doing that exact same thing? Crossing it over to whoever plays on the left, whether it's Eze or whether it's Mitchell if he's got high enough.
Do you think that, because with our last game, you could tell that Anderson, in my opinion, I don't think Anderson fully trusted Richards. So he wasn't playing his own kind of game. He was sort of holding himself back a bit, in my opinion. So do you think that after, I guess, a whole another week in the training ground, that relationship would have been established?
I mean, I think so. I mean, I got to be honest. I don't think Richards plays as well with Anderson as he does with Gay, because I think Gay and Anderson equally, I don't think plays well with Richards as he does with Gay. I think because Gay is very quick and he's able to cover players very well, whereas Anderson is a little bit slower and a little bit more clunky. Not saying like he's he runs in treacle or anything like that, but I don't think he is as quick. And I think because Richards isn't as quick as Gay / isn't as intelligent with his covering, I think it does show a little bit in my opinion. I'm not like they both played well, don't get me wrong, but however, that said, our game was against Villa. We do need to contextualize it, and we need to say, well, Villa have some of the highest chance creation rates in the top 5 leagues, let alone in the Premier League, especially at home as well. I think before they played us, I know, including the win against us, they won 10 home games in a row in competitive fixtures. So I think there would be more freedom in that sense for Anderson, because we're playing a team who aren't as in form or attacking minded as Villa.
Definitely.
Okay, this was another one. So you're probably thinking, okay, right, so it's fine. We got Joachim Andersen's ping passes. That's one strategy. Okay, what about working on the wings? Just what we like to do. So this was against Luton. And I have to be honest, I rewatched this game and I wanted to gouge my eyes out. This game was terrible. It was so bad. Like Luton were just, I don't know what they were doing. They were just, I don't know. They didn't play well.
It'll be Luton.
They were just like kicking the. It was like watching Roybal at its worst.
Ooh.
That's how that. Honestly, that sounds really horrible, but well, it was horrible. I actually had to stop watching it. Like it was just doing my head in. But anyway, Fulham also didn't play well in this game either, and they got I can't remember the guy they scored. But anyway, so I've got 4 pictures here of pretty easy transition. So pass the ball to number 12. I can't remember who number 12 is. Let's say for us that this is our right winger. Let's say that maybe this is Eze who's drifted over, or maybe Shek Decore or whoever. And then this is Joel Ward, if you'd ever see him that high up the pitch. I don't know. But anyway.
This is nosebleed territory for him.
Yeah, literally. But anyway, yeah, so let's just say it's those 3 just for this. Anyway, so pass it to Ward, let's say. All it does is then just pass it inside here. So this player drops off, receives the ball here. And then all they've done is basically swap position. All they've done is kind of do like a 1-2 because this player carries on up to here. Now, the problem occurs, there's 2 problems that occur, is that one, so Castagna comes over. One, if Castagna does cover well and manages to get over well, this number 12 has basically left 26. I can't remember who 26 was. Has basically left 26. So that could be a pass out wide and then a cross in, which, as we've seen, they don't. Well, actually, we'll see in a minute. They don't defend the back post very well. So one to the back post, bang, I think that goes in personally. But another problem is that, and this is what I was saying about, I don't think Castagna is very good defensively. This player literally just runs, like Castagna comes too far over, and then this player comes over. Whether that's Castagna's fault, I don't know, because
he just takes a simple touch forwards, doesn't he? Nothing special.
Oh yeah, honestly, like literally Castagna comes over and he just kind of like taps it past him. And I think that's partially because these 2 haven't worked well together and he hasn't set properly and he's on the wrong side. So I guess maybe he panics a little bit. But literally all he does is go through. And again, if you've got players coming through, I mean, you can see already. Back post. Look how far away the left winger is from Kenny Tete. Like that's miles. So again, put that in trouble. And then this was another simple kind of wing play. Again, on the left-hand side. I don't know who was left back for Fulham at this time. I can't remember. I don't think it was Castagna. It might have been Robinson.
That's not Robinson, I think.
Yeah. And so Saka, again, I know Arsenal were good, but you know, I think it's something that we are capable of. So let's say we got Saka here, and we got Ødegaard here. I don't know, that could be whoever our right winger is and whoever our attacking midfielder is or whatever. So you have that. Now, all they do is pass. This player here makes a run inside. I can't remember who actually passes this ball. I think it was Ødegaard. I think Saka passes it to Ødegaard, and then Ødegaard comes inside. And then this player ends up. Oh, that's why it's the wrong way round. So this player comes inside, gets the ball, but look how much space Saka's got, right?
Yeah, and Robinson's ball watching.
Exactly.
No idea.
Oh, wait, number 3. Who's their number 3?
Oh, that's you know who that is? That is the guy they bought from Ajax for like 25 million. Cassie, I think his name is.
Oh, Calvin,
and he's the guy I famously said, I know he's crap.
Right. Okay.
And he is.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. But anyway, so literally all that happens is that he comes inside. So let's just start that again. So let's say this player is picking up Saka, right? This player is picking up Ødegaard, okay? all they've done is literally Saka's made a run, and this, and theoretically you'd think, good defending, they'd swap, right? So, this person would have him, this one would have him. But all he does literally is then pass that ball inside like that. I can't remember who that is, if that's Havertz or Rice. But what this player does, this player wants to come back inside. So this player is now on Ødegaard still. Okay, fair enough. But this player has just left their man, basically. Which I think it might be Robinson, But anyway, but then before they do it, I can't remember what happens after this, but you've got all that space just for Saka. Saka's like one of the best wingers in the league. Surely, like, if you're trying to defend well, that'd be one of the first things you do. Mark him.
Yeah. I'm sure that I think that's Rice and I think that's Havertz at the far post. I'm sure he just puts the ball in the box.
Yeah, I think
and then
so.
Havertz missed it, but
yeah,
still.
pretty much. But that's it. So as long as we can work the wings and get balls in, preferably to the back post. But to be honest, I'm sure a flash across goal would also work as well. That would be good. The other thing I want to talk about is counterattacks. So one thing I've noticed is that Fulham are terrible in transitions. Like, they are really bad in transitions. So let's get this one, for example. See how I've put them all in folders now? Do you see that? So I don't.
Well, we didn't see it, but we saw everything pop up all nice and fresh.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah. I forgot you can.
Is that Iwobi playing against his future club?
I think so. I believe so. So what actually happened here? Got it the wrong way around. That's why. So this was a Fulham corner, maybe. No, I don't think it was. I think it was just an attack. So there's a loose ball. Pop it to Iwobi. This player here, can't remember who it was. Then makes this run. Yeah, I think, Decore makes this run. As you can see, that's Kenny Tete, the right back, all the way up the pitch. This player continues to run.
Is his name Kenny Van Arnott? Do you know?
Well, yeah, might as well be. But anyway, yeah, and then Decore just continues this run. I think it's Decore. Maybe it's Onana, but I can't remember. And then, as you can see here, I mean, look at the state of that. Look at the state of that. That's Tim Ream, who's not particularly Ream. That is Issa Diop. I don't know. I got to be honest. I don't know who that is. I think that might be Paulinho. Left back.
No,
I don't know.
I've got no idea. The thing is, it's so all over the place. You've got no idea.
That's what
but
I mean.
I think at the top of the screen, that's Willian.
Yeah, that's William, the left winger. I don't know who that is. I can't remember. But point is that when they've got their back to goal, they're terrible. Like if we can get that transition and make them run, like they're not going to cope very well. And another thing, let's see if I feel like I have another transition.
In the comments, Rich is saying they have Saka, we have Schlupp.
Well, yeah.
And then Rich also says, to be fair, we scored at the Cottage in transition.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is another one. This was just one pass. This was their game against Brentford. So this is in the middle of the park. Do you see how much space there is in between their things? That
is heaven for someone like Eze.
That's what
you've got so much space to dribble into. And something that we've seen out of Eze lately is that he's got that burst of pace for the first 5 meters. We haven't seen it with Eze since his injury, really.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it again now. He's just pushing off and he's dusting people. And he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he just pushes off and he's gone. And if you've got that much space with someone as composed on the ball and comfortable on the ball as Eze, that's just like space that he's just going to thrive in.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And yeah, when you consider he's got that free roaming role, because of the way that they play, because these centre midfielders are pushed higher than maybe they were like when we had them under Vieira. Like under Vieira, they would be like here. And that's because then at least you've got that space. Like there's a lack of space. But literally, I can't remember who this is. I don't know if it's Jensen or someone. I can't remember. Literally, I mean, I know. Don't get me wrong. I know Mbeumo's quick, but literally all it was one pass through there and then in like that. And to be honest with you, looking at the position of the defender and looking at the position of Mbeumo, I don't think you even need to be that quick to be able to get a ball through there. And
100%.
Tim Reen isn't quick either. So again, that's another way that we can get in behind. So
well,
getting behind.
You have to look at Fulham's body language as well. So you see Jimenez at the front, standing still, no look of movement at all. Not that one, the other one.
I think that's him, isn't it?
You've got Harrison Reed, flat-footed in the middle.
I think that's him over there.
No, the one next to the ref. That's Reed. You can see the ginger on him. And then you can see Reem and Diop, both flat-footed. Wissa's already on the move as well, as you can see. So if both of them to be fair, I think if Norgard even put Wissa straight through on goal, I reckon Wissa would get there and Diop's in no man's land. Because of how, I guess, switched off they are when they're not under immediate pressure, and also the fact that they haven't got very fast centre-backs. This is probably why they've got the most red cards in the league, because they have to make these rash tackles.
Yeah,
they've got 2 reds already.
Yeah, no, exactly. And just to emphasize that a little bit more, this will be the last bit about defending. But they just have such a narrow defense. Okay, don't know what's happened there. But this is basically like all of their defenders like here. So again, I don't know if it's a transition thing again, but it's just terrible. Does a high press count as us them like their defense or their attack? Would you say like as in our high press? So I do have something about
our high press. I'd say that would be our attack.
Our attack. All right, cool. I'll leave that. Yeah. I'll leave that for you then. But yeah, that's it. I mean, if you want to have just a look actually in game at what their defensive positioning is, this is it. Again, you've got their 4 back players here. This is Reed. That's, can't remember, maybe Palhinha. That's Harry Wilson. That's, don't know, can't remember. But that's the kind of thing of what you're looking at. Again, another one. But again, you can see, look at all that space. If you just switch that ball, look at all that space. That was against Everton as well. So, you know, they're crap. So if they can do it, we can do it. But that's all I have to say about Fulham's defending.
Well, yeah, I think some of the things that I wrote down in my very short time is that you kind of touched on it, that they are very weak against dribblers, and that's probably because of the amount of space that we found between the midfield and the defenders. Like that bit of half space is something that we've actually been utilising a lot lately, and getting balls in behind. And to be fair, Eddie's running, and that's a lot more than he was doing last season. And to be fair to Eddie, I think he probably made one of his best runs of the whole season against Fulham. So if he keeps up this kind of, I guess, intensity with how he's moving around the pitch, Eze can find him, Decore can find him, Hughes can find him. Their centre-backs aren't fast. We just know that Diop is strong, so you can't go toe-to-toe with him. But if you get in behind, you can run away from him.
Yeah.
Also, all of their wins are very narrow. It's all 1-0s or draws. And if they do lose, they get a thrashing. So, even against Luton, obviously no disrespect to Luton, but they did struggle. There were times in that game where you're thinking Luton have had some very, very good chances when they've crossed the ball into the box. Nothing special. Their centre-backs just didn't pick up their men. It's just the fact that Luton didn't finish their chances. If they did, if they're a bit more clinical, they probably would have won that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
definitely.
lastly is Marco Silva, who's legendary for putting all of his eggs into this zonal marking business. He does it at set pieces and he does it in open play. That's why there's so much free space everywhere. You have to, like, at some points in the game, you have to go man for man. You have to go out and press your man. But his team is very standoffish. Not, I'm going to hold my space. If you come in my space, then I'm going to go and push out. But the fact that they've got injuries, they've brought in quite a few players. Obviously, that kind of level of communication that they had last season isn't going to be there. Like, for example, with I think Bassi, his name is the one they bought from Ajax. Probably the reason why him and his defenders aren't communicating too well is because he's brand new. He's probably thinking, oh, he's in his space. But then Tim Ream's probably thinking, but that player's in his space. So they're not, no one's doing anything while someone will just run straight through on goal.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And also, you don't have to be a genius or know anything about football to know why zonal marking for set pieces is a dreadful idea as well. There's no need to explain it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Rafa doing it with like Liverpool years and years ago, and it didn't really work then. It doesn't work now, in my opinion.
No, I think for set pieces, you've got to go man for man. That's the only way to really defend it, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I can see the argument for like sticking someone like on the front post, like no matter what. Like I can see the arguments for stuff like that, but other than that, I just think it's daft.
Mm-hmm. So we've spoke about how we can attack them. Let's see how we can prevent them from scoring against us. I think, luckily, this is probably one of them TACT-EAGLEs where we're talking about how we can win more than how we can not lose. Let's say. So Fulham I wouldn't say they're very one-dimensional, but they do like to overuse the wings. They heavily rely on Willian to produce something to take on a man all game. They heavily rely on Harry Wilson to cut inside on his left foot. They're definitely missing Mitrovic. The fact that he's gone, they've replaced him with Jimenez, and Jimenez just isn't doing it, basically. And pretty much, if Paulinho doesn't commit himself to go forwards, their attack is a bit flat other than that. The fact that they're getting Willian, who's 35, 36?
He's definitely
35.
Yeah.
They're asking a 35-year-old to, as you said, with when you compared him to Alan Pardew, to attack, to take on players, and to defend all game, and he doesn't get subbed off either. So someone of that age, granted, you can be the fittest man in the world, but it's just not going to last all game, is it? That intensity isn't going to last all game. And they fall off a cliff late on into the game. And that was when Luton had their most chances. That was when Everton just ripped them to shreds, but Everton are also gashed, so they couldn't score all their chances. So Fulham is a game that I'm looking for 3 points. 100% we're looking for 3 points. But it's also one of them games where they've been crap in this game, they've been crap in this game, they've been crap in this game. But then, against Crystal Palace, they will do the unthinkable. And Marco Silva will scrap his zonal marking. He'll play proper football. And somehow everyone's going to be communicating perfectly.
Willian will cross it to the back post. Mitchell's going to miss it.
Mitchell's going to miss it. Wardy's going to miss it if Harry Wilson does a nice little reverse cross. But Fulham are a good team. They've got good individuals.
Yeah.
But I think that the new players that have come in have upset the balance a bit. And I think with what you said, that they definitely overachieved last season is true. And I think that Mitrovic definitely overachieved as well. I think that he got a few. I think Fulham had a good few VAR decisions go in their favour as well last season. So it's going to be an interesting game, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm just not exactly sure how it's going to go because I think we've spoken about how they can attack and how we can defend, but I don't know. I really don't know in this game because, yeah.
Thing is, if we were at full strength, I would. Well, even when I say full strength, as in if we hadn't got the. I'm not including Elise in that because he's been long-term injured. But if the short-term injuries hadn't happened, like, I would be. I mean, I do still kind of expect us to win, to be honest, because I do think Fulham aren't that good, and it is at home as well. But then when we expect these things, that's when Palace tend to disappoint us.
Yeah, because the main thing is, I'm singling out this guy so much, but genuinely, I think any team that we put out that doesn't have Schlupp in it would do really well in this game. And I think the fact that they play so narrow, and the fact that Schlupp, even though he plays out wide, is still in narrow, it's just going to be a congestion of bodies in that midfield. Because what? So we play two DMs, a 10, and then you've got Schlupp trying to weasel his way into the midfield as well. So that's 4 players in midfield. Yeah, so that's 4 players in midfield, and then you've got their 3, which is 7, and then when they're defending, they like to tuck their wingers in. You're talking about 9 players in midfield. It's just going to be a congestion of bodies, and granted, Anderson can take advantage of that with one ping over the top and then someone running onto it, but we can't be one-dimensional like that either. We have to show different parts of our game. We have to show our passing play, crossing, for example, because if we're very one-dimensional, they can just set up and just stop that, get used to it. But we need to mix it up to try and, break them down. Because if they sit deep, they're hard to break down because I know their centre-backs aren't fast, but if they're in an organised unit and they're sitting deep, they're all big guys. So anything in the box is going to be tough. Like Reed, he's sort of like a Hughes kind of type player, isn't he? He'll always run around. He'll find his way around, win the ball back. It's going to be hard if they sit deep.
Yeah, no, for sure.
This is a game where we have to score the first goal. If we don't score the first goal, they're going to sit deep and play for the draw.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like I said earlier, like as long as we try and exploit the wings, try and get crossing. I mean, we have scored goals from crosses this season. I can't remember. I feel like I know definitely Eddie, Eddie. Well, 2 Eddie, 3 Eddie. I think actually three of Eddie goals have been from crosses. So I think so. I'd like to think we'll do well. I mean, in terms of their defending, I think they are exploitable, and I do think as in their attacking, I think they are relatively. I feel like they're quite rigid in a weird way. Do you want me to show you what I thought like how they kind of do it?
Yeah.
So like the kind of thing that I thought that they did was that they always seem to have, and this is in part relation to what Richard said here about needing to man mark Paulinho. What I noticed with them is that they do always like to have 5 players kind of like occupying these areas. But what I noticed, whoever that is, it depends. So in answer to what Rich was saying about man marking Paulinho, I agree, because like in terms of what I thought it was, so let's say that they're set up like that. Let's say that the ball's over here. I thought, let's say Diop's got it, say pass it to blah, blah, blah. what they don't mind doing is that they don't mind rotating these so that Reed will drop, Tete will push high, Wilson comes inside, and again on this side too, they're happy to like kind of have this or a bit more like that. But basically, they'll always have these 5 players in these kind of positions. We've got whoever that is. As I said, it just rotates, and they're happy to like if they can't find a way in this way, they'll go switch the other way as quick as they can, and then try to get an overload over here and then ping the ball in. But in answer to kind of to what Rich said, I completely agree, because the thing is, if you've got say these players, if you stick say Will Hughes on there, actually let's do like that. So and then Ahmada's over here. So then okay, if they get through, like there's not really an overload because if they get to Willian, 3 players around them, Castagna 2 players, here 2 players, whatever. But I agree. Maybe just stick Eddie on Paulinho or someone, or maybe have him and then have Decore just kind of floating where he can go where he's needed. So if the ball is on this side of the pitch, Decore goes over here and they just push over. So and if when it does switch, then they can just push over a bit like that. That's probably what I was suggesting. Just stick Eddie on there, because Paulinho, if they use him, you know, he's capable of getting the ball here, turning, and then coming inside. Or again, he's also happy to like come a bit deep, and then maybe pass to like Pereira or someone like that. If we kind of eliminate that, then yeah, I think that would be one thing. Just like a general thing to do in answer to what Rich was saying, really.
Definitely. Quick update on the Champions League. Bayern Munich are 1-0, are 2-0 up. The first goal was a huge mistake from Onana. I just had a look at it. It's definitely Butterfingers or Butter Wrists. Sané with a pretty dreadful shot, but it goes straight for his hands. 2-0. Alexander.
Big up,
Even
Alex.
guys at work. We'll check it out when I'm done. The segment, though, very spot on about the congestion.
Yeah, for sure, man.
One-touch passing, quick movement is going to be the key to get through this team. Wonder if Roy will start Eddie and JP. I don't think he will, because we saw that when JP came on early into the Villa game, that I feel like our impact sub was too early. I feel like it definitely tailed off towards the end of the game. I feel like if you start them both, then there's no impact off the bench whatsoever if we need to chase the game. Yeah, so I'd say it probably won't happen at the start, but I'm saying in the second half, 100%.
I completely agree. And to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if he starts. You know what? Actually, it wouldn't surprise me if he does start maybe Raksaki on the right, because I suppose if you got Schlupp on the left, he likes using Ebbs as that 10, as like that second striker, I guess, as it were. He does like to do that. Maybe he'll use a Hamada instead. I don't know, but it's just with all these injuries, it's hard to say, and like a lot of them are like touch and go whether they'll start on Saturday as well. So it's just so hard to say.
Yeah, we can. What would you say would probably be the best case scenario for our front four for this game that are currently fit? I'd probably say it's probably Eze on the left, a Hamada in a 10. Are we saying Ayu's fit or not?
No.
Okay, I'd say Eze on the left, a Hamada in a 10, Jez on the right, and Eddie up top.
Yeah, to be honest, that's what I would go for. I mean, personally, I don't think Jez is ready for the Premier League.
He's not.
In the time the times he's come on, I don't think he's ready personally. But yeah, I agree. To be honest,
I think the only thing left now is score predictions. No.
Yeah. I'm gonna say 2-1 Palace. I think we'll still win, but I don't think it's going to be pretty.
Yeah. So that's Selhurst. First time back at Selhurst after the international break. Are we looking to put a performance in? with a weakened team could do something. I'm going to go bold and say 3-0 Palace. Because
Nice.
I feel like there is a lot to exploit out of Fulham.
Mm-hmm.
And they are still in that stage where they're still working out what to do and how to play. And I think that we've got an all right record against Marco Silva as well. Bear in mind, we don't do anything well against Everton. But I'm
Let's
sure
have
that
a look, shall we?
I think we do all right against Marco Silva.
I feel like we do too. I feel like, yeah. We've beaten him twice, drawn 3 times, and lost twice.
So we get points more than we don't.
It's about even, to be fair. Like of the 21 points that were available, we've gotten 9. So yeah, 7 games, 9 points. So better than thinking.
Yeah. Rich saying I look like he was in training from the EAFC video, and Chairman here says, are we capable of keeping a clean sheet? If Richards plays like how he played against Villa and Anderson has normal service as usual, I've got no qualms with the centre backs. My only worry is Ward, because they they bang out the wings.
Yeah,
I think that Mitchell's fine when it comes to defending 1-on-1. Mitchell is a bit ropey when it comes to back post, but so is Ward as well. So, you know, that's one of our main weaknesses, and I cannot talk about fullbacks because if I speak anymore, I'll go on a half an hour rant because I've been talking about fullbacks for so long. But it is what it is. That is funny because their main strength is using the wings, and our main weakness is defending the wings. So
yeah, exactly.
there you have it.
Yeah.
But other than that, guys, I think that's about it. Do you agree, Dan?
Yeah, that's all good.
Cool. Well, guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. This is Eagle Eyed Football. This was the TACT-EAGLE show for Crystal Palace Fulham, not Manchester United. But it means all my research is done for next week already.
Woo!
But anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. And as always, up the Palace.
Eagles!